into becoming part of the team and giving feedback. How many people did that survey about the new Axio flavor? Well, I want to share with you guys what you helped us learn. These are the results from the survey yesterday, and it looks like you like sour cherry. 67% liked it very much, 20% liked it somewhat. I don't know who these somewhat dislike very much people. You need to get your taste buds checked. But anyway, this is the kind of involvement that we want to have with you guys in terms of what products we're bringing out, how we're bringing them out, when we're bringing them out, what the cadence of that looks like, so that they can be successful. You guys are the ones that have to represent these products, right? So we want to make sure that we get it right, and you guys are going to help us do that kind of stuff. So, you know, that team approach, I think, is really important for us all to think about and understand and internalize, because we've heard that from some of the distributor speakers who've been up here over the last day or so, that nobody gets to the top, nobody comes to Pro 10 without a good team behind them. Nobody accomplishes anything without a good team. This company doesn't grow unless we all become together as a good team. We've recently just merged the R&D group with the marketing group. So we're one cohesive group now so that we can do a couple of things. Yeah, it's working out really well so far in the first couple of weeks. What we're trying to do is take these amazing products that we have and refine and massage and tweak the story about what that offering is. Not just to make the story stronger, not just to make the story better, but to make your jobs easier so you can tell a coordinated story about why these products are different, why they're unlike anything else that's on the market. You'll see some of the new marketing pieces that we have coming, launching at this convention in just a second. But to that idea of teamwork, you know, the kinds of sports that I do, you know, like rowing, I made it to a pretty high level in rowing. I get to the national team. And you'll look at these boats and you'll see that there's 9 people in every single boat. 4 rowers and a coxswain. The coxswain is the steerer, the sort of captain of the boat. You don't get to that level without having an awesome team behind you. Something that looks like an individual sport, like cycling. You see that person at the top of the podium, somebody like Greg LeMond. They don't get there without having a strong team of climbers and time trialists and workers and domestiques to get you to that point. Even something that would look like the most solo, isolated of all sports, the kind of sports that I do now, these ultra marathons, where I'm running like Forrest Gump through the woods in the dark, 50 or 100 miles, you would think that would be the most solo of all endeavors, right? And any success you get is just due to yourself. But what you don't see is the behind the scenes there. You don't see your crew. You don't see your pacers. You don't see the volunteers who are running the feed stations, right? There's a lot that goes into that. And, you know, here in Orlando, it's coinciding with spring break for a lot of schools. And so my kids are out of school right now. This is the one event where I actually get to bring my family to. And I want to introduce them to you because they're my team. They're the ones that support me so that I can come out and support you guys. So who are they? Who are you guys? Jerseys that we have in this store right now. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? My daughter Courtney and my wife Julie. And Julie's already crying. And I told myself I was not going to pull a Brandon Cunningham up here, and I'm real close to not living up to that right now. But these are the guys who, you know, I travel a lot. I come out, I do a lot of meetings. I'm on the road a heck of a lot of the time. And these are the guys that are supporting me when I come home, and so that I can come out there and support you guys to build your businesses. So if you give them a round of applause. I appreciate that. So I want to give you guys a perspective for where we stand right now, from the product side and from the company side. If you think about the history of where we've come, think about 46, 7 years ago when SOD, superoxide dismutase, was discovered, right? Joe McCord discovered that as a graduate student. In 1968, I was 1 year old. I was still pooping in my diaper. When this, I mean, this was a fundamentally important time in science that we discovered this enzyme that protects all cells in the body from the environment around it. The problem was, we didn't know what the heck to do with it. SOD is a gigantic molecule that you can't give to somebody. You can't take it in a pill. It would get digested. You can't even really give it as a patch or inject it. It's fragile. It doesn't survive very long. And so for years and for decades, we didn't know what to do about that. How can we harness that discovery to protect the body in an important way? Until right around 1999, 98, 99, a group in Japan discovered this NRF2 pathway and discovered it as that master switch for turning on the body's own production of SOD and a whole family of other protective enzymes and cleanup proteins and housekeeping proteins. And so that was the time where we said, wait a minute, now we know how to harness this. Now we know how to get the benefit of SOD and catalase and glutathione and all the rest by flipping the switch. But at that time, we still didn't even really know how to flip the switch. There were some ideas, but we didn't know how to dial it in. In 2003, this little company, Lifeline Therapeutics, a little biotech, if you will, decided that they had found something that could flip that switch, and they put it out on the shelf, and it went nowhere, right? That company almost went out of business until the distribution model was changed, right? Each one of these was a very, very important step into getting where we are, which is right here today, where we've got this amazing distribution model for an amazing product, for an amazing effect in the body that needs to be told. That has to be told to people because of things like this. We stand here in 2015 and we are right on the cusp of a paradigm shift in nutrition and medicine and pharmaceuticals and biotechnology and everything about how we think about protecting the body. When I come from a conference like that NRF2 Science Conference that I attended in January, it's not just about antioxidants anymore. It's not just about being anti-inflammatory. It really is about protecting the body from the stressful environment around us. And we think of NRF2 now, not so much as just protection, but integrating all of those different signals. We look at a graph like this. NRF2 is that convergence point 10 trillion times over because it lives inside every single cell of our body. Every single cell in our body responds to this stressful environment. And the way we respond to that is the outcome of, are we going to be healthy or not healthy? Are we going to look a certain way or are we going to look older? Are we going to feel a certain way? Are we going to perform a certain way? The way that our body internalizes that stress we're exposed to, that comes right through the NRF2 pathway. It is the central regulator of all of that response to the world around us. And we have that built into every single product in our portfolio. Protandim and Canine Health protect the body on average throughout every tissue in the body. The ingredients, the NRF2 activators from True Science are targeted to the skin. The NRF2 activators from Axio are targeted to the brain. And the products that we're working on now will take that NRF2 activation and tissue direct it. We'll be able to target it to the fat cells, and to the muscle cells, and to the brain cells, and to the eye cells, and to whatever else we want to have a beneficial effect in. The runway that we have here, guys, is amazing. I want to share with you a little bit of the marketing message that we're trying to take for these products, right? One of the problems with our story is that nobody's going to proactively come up to you and ask if you have any NRF2 activators for them, right? That will never happen in the history of your business, right? People don't know that that is a thing, really. They will eventually, someday, 5 or 10 years from now, people will know what NRF2 activators are, and people will be doing NRF2 activation. But that isn't the time right now. Right now, people are still looking for the benefit. They're looking for the mental clarity. They're looking for protecting their body, cellular function. They're looking for skin health so that they look better, so they're more beautiful. They're looking for physical fitness and weight loss and muscle tone and lean body mass and those sorts of things. We can coordinate all of that through the NRF2 pathway by managing what we call cellular stress. That's the way that researchers around the world are talking about NRF2 now. I mentioned before, it's not just about being an antioxidant or being anti-inflammatory. It's really about protecting that cell from stress. Because if we think about what that NRF2 complex is, It really is a thermostat inside the cell to sense whether the cell is under stress or not. We're solving that cellular stress problem in some very fundamental ways. And to try to communicate that story out, once we have that cellular stress story a little more dialed in, how do we communicate that? I've said on this stage before, this business is not about you guys becoming product experts. It's not about you guys understanding all the PubMed studies about Nerve 2 activation. It really is about how can you share this story in a way that's really easy to share and repeat and have somebody do the same thing over and over again. So we create a lot of tools to do that. Some people like to read, so we write brochures. Some people like to watch videos, so we do videos. Some people like to listen to it, so we have audio files. Some people like to sign into a webinar. There's all kinds of ways that people like to consume this information, and we're trying to surround them so that when you encounter that person that wants to listen, you have a tool that's going to resonate with that person. So we have a new episode 1 of the LifeVantage Lab series. This has Axio now integrated into it. So in 5 minutes, you can give somebody an overview of each of our products. We have a new episode 7 that's launching on Monday. This is about our scientific advisory board. When we talk about a team approach, we just can't do all of it in R&D. We don't have all the expertise in-house, but we have access to these experts externally at some of the most elite institutions in the world. So you'll hear about those people. We have a series of webinars that will be launching on a regular cadence now. The first one happened on March 4th, and that one's going to be archived on a new website I'll tell you about in a second. The next one airs on April 22nd. It's going to be specifically about Protandim and canine health, and it's going to be April 22nd, 6 to 7 o'clock Mountain Time, and you can see the web address there. This will pop up in your back offices to remind you as the date gets closer. We have several new brochures. People who were at the science seminar got a chair drop of this one. This one was presented, the scientific paper was presented last week at Experimental Biology. So this is one on canine health showing, you can see the conclusions there, that when we supplement dogs with canine health and we reduce cellular stress in those dogs, not only do they have higher levels of these protective enzymes, catalase in this example, but they perform better. They have better mental and physical performance. That's the benefit a dog owner is going to look for. Will my dog be better? Will it act healthier? They don't necessarily care about cellular stress. They don't necessarily care about Nerve 2. They care about that benefit. We're able to show that benefit in these kinds of studies. So you have access to these kinds of brochures to share that story. We've got a new brochure about Nerve 2 in athletes. Nerve 2 is something that can be very, very beneficial for athletes. So this study was also presented last week at the Experimental Biology Conference in Boston. This one was done by researchers at Colorado State University, and there's a huge controversy now in sport nutrition about should athletes supplement with antioxidants or not. And the reason that you might not want to supplement with antioxidants as an athlete is because of the first major finding there. Vitamin C supplements reduce the cellular adaptation to exercise training. What that means is that you go out there and you bust your butt doing your workout, and then you wait for the adaptations to happen, and if you've supplemented with the wrong antioxidants, it doesn't happen. We know this from research on vitamin C and vitamin E and resveratrol and a whole bunch of different standard one-to-one direct antioxidants, right? You've heard me say before that that's the wrong approach. The right approach is Nerve 2 activation because that protects your body just at the sweet spot. Not too much, not too little, right at that sweet spot. So you can get a benefit like that. Protandim supplementation in this model system allowed normal post-exercise cellular adaptation. So we were able to protect the cells, but they were still able to adapt. And the adaptation we measured in the study was something called mitochondrial biogenesis, basically making more mitochondria, the little things inside your cells that generate energy. That's a pretty important effect. If you are working out hard, you want to get that effect so you can go harder the next time, faster the next time, further the next time. If you're an athlete and you're not getting that benefit, that's a big problem. We know Protandim protects you, but allows those normal adaptations to continue in place. Huge, huge finding in that space. We've got a new update to the skin health brochure where you asked, we listened, and we added in the pictures of the skin. Oh, legal. Legal doesn't want me to show those pictures. Eric, I appreciate,